Want help to grow your business? Download Bryn, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit bryn.ai or search the App Store today.
Welcome to another session of Inspired. Now, I'm not too sure where you are in the world right now, but I certainly hope that you're having a great day. I don't know about you, but I'm coming to you from beautiful Sydney, Australia, and if you haven't been here, you definitely got to get here. Now, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Johnny Cass, and we're going to be hanging out for the next 45 minutes, and we're going to be talking about how to overcome adversity and create the life that you truly want. Now, I've been in the very fortunate position to have traveled around the world for the last 15 years and have worked with tens of thousands of people across the globe, either in a group situation or in a one-on-one situation. And one of the key things that people always ask me about is, well, Johnny, how do we overcome adversity? Now, I'm not too sure about you, but if there's one thing that I do know for sure is that there's definitely been plenty of times in my life where I've had to overcome some of my own personal challenges, and I'll be sharing that with you throughout the course of the next 45 minutes together. And also, I'm not too sure if you're in a bit of a funk right now, but you might get in a funk a little bit later on. So we're hanging out together, sharing some personal stories, and we're also going to be having a really good time. Now, one other thing I'd like to get you to think about this morning or this evening, wherever you are in the world, is that when I'm not speaking and presenting, I'm going to assume that, you're an avid learner. That's why you're watching. That's why we're hanging out here together. When I'm not teaching and presenting, I also really like to learn as well. So we're going to be hanging out for the next 45 minutes. I want you to get the most out of our session together today. And so I know that life is busy and hectic. You've got demanding children. Come on, let's face it, our children are demanding. You've got bossy wives or demanding husbands or just life in general. But I'm just going to ask that if you can, let's just switch off the distractions right now. Let's switch off the emails. Let's not be multitasking. Because I know that there have been plenty of times when I've been listening to a webinar or listening to a great session like this, and I've been distracted by a whole bunch of different other things, and I've not learned anything, and I've not done the other thing well as well. So let's make sure that we eliminate the distractions, and let's have a great 45 minutes together. Now, one of the great things about me, if you haven't met me before, is that I kind of really like to have fun while we're spending some time together. So go ahead and just give yourself a little tickle and just wake up right now. All right, okay, I'm just being a bit silly, but you get the idea, right? So let's talk about adversity. And like I said to you before, I've worked with tens of thousands of people across the globe, and I'm not too sure if you could relate to this, but maybe you're in a bit of a funk right now, like I was saying a moment ago. And you're trying to overcome getting out of that space. Maybe you have overcome some adversity and you're trying to move up to the next level. Now, for those of you that do know me, I know that some of you do, it was over about 15 years ago, I think it's a little bit more now, where I happened to be on one of the largest reality TV shows in Australia. Now, I normally wouldn't share that with too many people, but it was that TV show that then ended up being a catalyst for me for, number one, becoming an expert in human behavior, human potential, and most importantly, why do we do the things that we do? Why do we get these moments of adversity? Why do we have these challenges in our life? And why are some people actually able to really rise above those moments of adversity? And why are some people just, one small thing happens to them and they're stuck in that place for the rest of their lives? I know a lot of people that were hit during the global financial crisis, some people who were hit financially, professionally, and personally, and still haven't recovered from those experiences. And I know some people, they hit the global financial crisis and they looked at it as an opportunity to help them launch into a new area and a new field. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be hanging out together today and looking at how can you overcome the adversities in your life. And I don't mean just from a business point of view, but I'm also going to be talking about from a professional point of view. And also sometimes, unfortunately, even in our families, let's face it, adversity sometimes hits our families as well. And I'm going to be sharing with you that a little bit later on, my own personal story, how, for 10 years I was traveling around the world as a motivational speaker, like I said, working with tens of thousands of people across the globe. I was meant to be the guru. And then I had to overcome some of my own personal adversities and my own personal challenges, and how you can also do that as well. So let's get into it. Make sure you've got some pen and paper or whatever electronic device it is that you're using to take some notes. And let's have a look at how you can overcome adversity. Now, the very first thing I want us to be thinking about and what I want you to realize is that you have got this great, powerful thing called your brain. Now, that's right. You have this beautiful tool in your head over here called your brain. Now, unfortunately, some people, not you, but some people just don't know how to use their brain. In fact, I know that you know some people that don't ever use their brain, but that's not you. And if you think about it, this thing called your brain is like being given a Ferrari. And you're given a Ferrari, this beautiful car to drive, but nobody ever gave you the user manual on how to use your brain. Because the truth is, and we also now know this scientifically from a neuroscience point of view, like that's a great big fancy word that just means understanding how your brain works. We now know from a neuroscience point of view that your brain is constantly adapting, it's constantly changing, and most importantly, it's your brain that's also creating your future. But here's the interesting thing to think about, and we'll talk about this a little bit more later on. Your brain is creating the future, but in order to create the future, what your brain is doing is it's going back and looking at past memories and creating the future. Now, I don't want to get too heady and I don't want to get too complicated, but my outcome for our 45 minutes together today is to get you thinking about how you create reality, get you thinking about if you're in a bit of a funk right now, how you can get out of that place, and most importantly, how you can increase the results in your life, whatever that might be for you. Increase your own personal levels of success. By the way, I am certainly not here to tell you what success is for you. That's your responsibility to define that. For a long time, my levels of success were to travel around the world and inspire people across the globe, but that was my level of success. For some of you, that's an absolute nightmare. So you need to define what success is for you, but let's figure out how your brain works to help you overcome adversity and create success. So let's have a look over here. The very first thing I want you to recognize, I want us all to recognize, is that we are influencers. Now, whether you like it or not, I'm influencing you here right now. We're spending the next 45 minutes, the next 50 minutes together, and I'm going to be influencing your thinking. I'm going to be influencing some of your strategies and your tactics to help you overcome your adversities. Now, the truth is, I'm an external influencer. In other words, I'm influencing you externally. And by the way, you and I both know this, that there are plenty of people, plenty of businesses, and plenty of corporations out there that are wanting to constantly influence you all the time. Just take a look around where you are right now. Take a look at advertising. Take a look at the media. Take a look at social media. Take a look at your friends and your family and your peer group. All the people around you are constantly influencing you. And we'll talk about why this is important, why you need to think about that, because sometimes that can be really useful when we're stuck in adversity, and sometimes it can actually also hold us back. Now, the other thing I want us all to remember, and you know this already, but I just want to highlight it again, is that you are probably your most influential person. Yes, that's right, you. You see, every day when you wake up and look in the mirror, as do I, some of us wake up and look in the mirror and we go, oh, who's that person staring back at me? Well, it's you. And in that moment, and I'm kind of just mucking around here, but in that moment, you've influenced yourself. Some of us wake up in the morning and we go, whoa, I don't really like what's looking back at me. And some of us wake up in the morning and go, hey, you're the guy, you're the dude. Now, of course, I don't say that, but that's kind of what I'm thinking on the inside. So my question to you, and I want you to start thinking about this, is, well, how have you begun to influence yourself? When you wake up first thing in the morning, do you look at yourself with a sense of pride? Do you look at yourself with a sense of potential accomplishment? Do you look at yourself with possibilities that are available to you? Or when you wake up in the morning, do you think about all the crap from the day before and all the mistakes from the day before, and do you drag that into you with your next new day? So we're constantly influencing ourselves every day. Now, for all of us, we've got to start thinking about, of course, you've heard this before. Like, I don't need to go through this in great detail with you, but we've all heard of the little voices inside of our heads. And some of you are probably listening to this and you're going, well, what little voices inside of your head? Well, they're the voices I'm talking about. You've got to introduce yourself to those voices if you haven't met them before, because guess what? Those voices are never going to leave you. And for some of us, those voices can be, well, of course, empowering voices, voices that serve us. And of course, some of those voices can also be disempowering voices. There's a great old Indian proverb, and I'm going to kind of paraphrase it here. And the Indian proverb says that there's a little boy who goes up to his father. And the boy goes up to his father and he says, "Father, Father, there are two wolves on my shoulder. One is a white wolf and one is a black wolf. Which wolf should I feed?" And the father looks to the son and he says, "Well, son, you feed whichever wolf it is that you choose to feed." So what does that story tell us? Well, that story tells us that there are voices inside of our heads that are moving us towards greater success, and there are voices inside of our heads that are, well, also...
To continue enjoying this presentation, download Bryn, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit Bryn.ai or search the App Store today.